And we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a very special royal edition of the MGTOWN, I guess, show. It's not, this isn't episode 94. We're just kind of doing a quick hit, as they say. Drex, what are we doing here? Save me.
Well, this is, the Queen is dead. Long live the King now. I know that's got to be weird for you to say, Phil, you and your British mates, right? To say the King?
It's not just that. I mean, yes, because it's been 70 years, everyone's been saying, long live the Queen. May the Queen live everlasting. All of that sort of stuff. Now, double that up with the Freemasons that I'm part of. And, we will sing the national anthem and, long live the Queen and all the rest of it. And the Queen and the craft, may it last everlasting. We're going to have to change all the lines that all of the guys have been saying for the last 70 years. And for a young Freemason like me, it's not going to be that hard to change. But for guys who've been doing this for 50 years, if not 60 years, they're going to be tripping over their lines horribly, getting them wrong and stuff. And the next meeting is Thursday next week.
Oh.
So they're going to be fucking all sorts of shit up.
It's funny. There's actually some ramifications in the legal field, too, because out here in the West, we call our court the Queen's Court. It's the Queen's Bench. So we actually have to change that. It's now the King's Bench, and people named to serve in the court are now part of the King's Court. So,
and of course, we have all of this, and so much currency is now going to have to change. The stamps are all going to have to change in the UK. Every note, all the coins, and there's an awful lot of them. We actually still had, until very recently, old shilling coins still in currency because we changed that shilling to be a 5p piece. So they were still legal tender. All that's going to have to be reminted now.
Ooh. Although I'm told that they don't do it overnight. They just,
it's going to take a while, but because we're talking billions of coins.
Well, also, coins wear out after a while, and the bank just pulls them when they get them, right?
And
we
had a bank pull not too long ago because we changed over from what we would know as the standard paper banknotes, and we started going over to these plastic-based notes. Now that's all going to have to be redone again.
Have we got Maple yet, Drex?
I'm waiting for Drex's money, and Maple's ready to go.
Look, Phil, here's the best thing, man. I had somebody send me a very hilariously disturbing video on Facebook today that chronicles a little short stack. And I should have sent that to you because all you can do is look on in horror and in bewildered amusement.
Well, it depends what you mean, because if you've got a little bit of a kink for short stacks, Drex, maybe that just works for you.
No, Phil, her legs are so bow-legged, she goes like this. That's how they're shaped.
Oh, she got like rickets, has she?
Yeah. It's literally it's a waddle. And so here's the thing. It made me realize something, Phil. Whenever when you fetishize a person, in this case, a short stack, right? In your mind, that looks and sounds a lot better. Now, Phil, when it comes to even like fetishizing, as you know, I'm a huge fan of the British accent from women, right? Just like American women love the British accent out of men, right? You guys have
Well, it depends what you mean. You're not talking about the Birmingham accent.
Wait, what is the Birmingham accent?
Well, I come from Birmingham. Think of Ozzy Osbourne. He's got like a...
Oh, that's what that is?
Yeah.
I thought that was just drugs.
No, that's Birmingham.
Oh, are you serious?
I shit you not, my friend.
This is no lie. Hand to God, I truly believed Ozzy's vocal pattern and voice and his accent was just the drugs. Oh, that's real? That's a real thing?
Yeah.
Why do they talk like that? What is that?
There are some really severe regional accents in the UK, and I've always expected them over the last 30 years to soften and soften, and Birmingham has just resisted hard. I mean, even Liverpool, which is considered to be quite harsh, has a big mix of Irish and Welsh all at the same time, and theirs has gotten a lot softer over the past few decades. But Birmingham is just a stalwart and say, we are not giving up our accent, like, you know what I mean. and it just stays the way it is.
Phil, I seriously believe when he was walking around on the show going, Sarah,
I mean,
I was like,
in fairness, his slur is drug induced, but the accent is just what it is.
Oh, I see Figbat's in the back room. Are we ready for him?
we are ready for Fig Bat. All of our British mates.
Figbat, really? I just saw what you were drinking in the back room there.
Oh, God.
You explain yourself.
Oh, this apple juice. It's just invisible, isn't it?
Oh, God. Look. Hey, now, Fig Bat, I thought you were about to say something like Belle Delphine's bathwater.
No, not this time. Not this time. No, I've run out of that.
Figbat, you got an echo coming through. Everyone's echoing through you.
Oh, one moment.
Yeah. Oh, we got our first super chat from, hey, Drex, your best friend, Jack Murphy. How's my scrumptious chocolate lately?
Is the echo still coming through?
Someone say something loud.
Yep, it's coming through.
Okay, it was small though. It was a lot better. So
I can't hear an echo. Oh yes, I can.
Yeah.
Let me just check the microphone just in case. How does that sound?
Let's see. Better? Yeah, better.
Yeah. Okay, now.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
fantastic.
sounds good.
There you go.
Brilliant. Sorry, I had to change my microphone input. Hello, guys.
Hello, Figbat.
Big Bat, I am so happy to have you here because, as you know, and Richard is here also, I want to get my British
there he
mates on and let you guys kind of take this away. Because, as you know, the Queen is dead. Long live the King.
Yeah, power's finally back in the hands of men. It's about time.
Yeah. You guys.
Well, it's a figure of speech, though, isn't it? I mean, this is the man who used to speak to his plans.
Wait, what?
Now, we're going back about 20 years. This was a bit of a fad back in the sort of like late 80s, early 90s. And people would say that talking to your plants actually promotes the growth of your plants. Now, of course, just breathing on your plants, breathing carbon dioxide onto them will help them. But Prince Charles was one of those that actually had a conversation with his plants.
Oh, no.
From that moment on, I've just thought, we just need to skip this man and go straight through to William. Now, everyone loves William. Everyone loves William's wife, Kate. They've got, kids. They're doing everything the right way. Whereas, King Charles III, everyone's a bit sort of, well, he's next in line to the throne. There's nothing we can say. But you might say something under your breath about him.
Now, Phil, and I gotta ask you British guys about this. Okay, Charles, we in the West, at least I guess the further West, in America, the way we view Charles is like this: he's an incompetent. He's Fredo, right? In The Godfather, he's so Charles is Fredo, yet there is no Michael. That's how we view him. Is that how you guys tend to view him also?
I would say the way we see him is we probably see him as the orchestrator behind Diana's passport lifestyle that she wanted to live. When she was like, I want to leave, they made sure she left carried by 6 instead of someone being judged by 12. So I don't really think I'm not sure what the UK's real kind of depiction of Charles is. We just looked at it as in like he was going to be the king. We kind of thought it would be sooner rather than later. But the way I see it is, I think, it is more conspiracy than anything else. But let's put my little hat on for a little bit. And with that hat on, I would imagine that there might be something, considering how long the Queen has reigned, there might be something that may be tied to her lifestyle, very much like Ruth Bader Ginsburg. So is something tied to the Queen being alive and something that she's actioned or kept, for example, dies when she does. So they've kept her alive like Mr. Burns for as long as possible to keep whatever it is. And then the moment she passes, all hell's going to break loose. We're going to lose a treaty somewhere. We're going to lose something. And someone's going to want to secede from the Empire. Or the Commonwealth may even kick up. They got rid of all of the lower tier commoner sports, but kept all the highbrow sports. this weekend. So
that was interesting. Yes, I mean your rugby's, your crickets, they're all going ahead as normal. But the football, the common man's game, no, we can't have that sort of thing going on this weekend.
Why do you think that is?
I mean, there's only one way to look at this. Obviously, we can't have the commoners kicking off. Because, I mean, you can have as many cricket games, as many rugby games as you like. And rugby is basically just fighting with like an odd-shaped ball. That's all it is.
Yep.
But yet there's no sort of fan-based violence. Football, anything can happen. They're just probably thinking emotions might be running high. It's all the football hooligans need is just an excuse to start kicking off and bottling each other and knifing each other. That's probably, they're just doing this out of fear. That's all it is.
Normally it would just be a black armband event, wouldn't it? Like they just turn up black armbands. But the highbrow sports are being done in commemoration of the Queen, whereas the working man's game cannot somehow. So they're like sports will continue in the higher atmosphere for in commemoration, but all the low tier sports, for example, for the working man, no, they're all axed.
You would have expected it the other way around, though. In all fairness,
Yeah,
you know, your cricket players, your rugby players just say like, "Oh, I'll wear a black armband, but I'll do that at home. There's no need to play the games this weekend."
Yep. So
That makes sense. So I'm curious, what is the media coverage over there? Just like a general. What is the general media coverage of the Queen's passing?
non-stop pictures of Balmoral Gate, really, where she died. There's
well, actually, FIGBAT would I mean, I don't know what your opinion is of the BBC, but for the last sort of 4 or 5 years, the BBC has run non-stop anti-British sentiment.
Absolutely.
And then all of a sudden, now that we've got this, I think they're under the scrutiny of the world because everyone's watching the BBC to actually see what happens with the death of Queen Elizabeth. So I think they're so scared they dare not put a foot wrong.
No, they can't now. Considering everything they've said, I believe didn't that new Prime Minister say something about getting rid of the monarchy? Like,
Liz Truss, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. She's had some fairly anti-monarchical thoughts and words, and I think that's going to come back to bite her. But
Absolutely.
I'm just not expecting much from Liz Truss, to be honest. I mean, like when I saw the choice that we had for the next Prime Minister, I totally agreed with Peter Hitchens when he was asked the same question. He said, "Well, can I answer that question with a question and say, what is your favourite disease?"
Damn.
To just give you the kind of idea that none of them are worth choosing.
It's actually
What is the purpose of a prime minister when you already have the monarchy? I never understood that about British politics.
Well, you can split them up, and the monarchy can take all of the tasks of let's go and show like a British presence to like kind of smooth over some bad will between us and another nation, or perhaps cement goodwill. You know, like say, like going to visit like New York and stuff like that, and like you know, you go and see the president of the United States, and it just tends to cement even better relations. And then that leaves the government to get on to actually doing some governing, which we can't say they do terribly well. So they need all the help in the world. So I would normally say that they kind of like welcome the help of the monarchy to do this sort of thing for them, because I would hate to think that we had to send Liz Truss to actually cement some good relations with another nation.
Oh, good Lord. Well, to be fair, like if I had to see another female Prime Minister after Thatcher, I'd have kicked the bucket as well, to be fair. I'd have like, you know what, I'm not staying for this. Like, also, on top of that, she went up north, didn't she? So she went up north, she crossed the Great Wall, she passed Winterfell, went to hang out with the undead, and now that she's died in the country, died in Scotland, I think this might bring back the English-Scottish rivalry. Speaking of funny things that happened in relation to the Queen, I did come across an interesting article. A lady, well, I can post a link to it. Hold up, and I'll
try to pull it up.
Yeah, I'll just post it in private chat. So, what happened in Scotland is a lady with a fish and chip shop.
Oh yes.
Yeah. See, she got a big, massive message saying, what's it called? I think something about Queen's dead, and she was like popping a bottle of champagne and celebrating the death of the Queen. So all these Scottish people got together and they reported her to, well, they cancelled her, so they reported her to that. Now, I didn't know this. So it turns out there's a National Federation of Fish Fryers. So for fish and chips, there's a national federation for that. Yeah, I was surprised as well. So they ended up cancelling her apparently through their. It's insane.
Did you hear what happened at the night though? All the locals kind of came around and they're throwing eggs at the fish and chip shop. To which you think, well, it's a bit unpleasant. But they were starting to literally call for, like, beating the teeth out of her head. So she shut up the shop, got into the car, and she had to kind of maneuver through people to try and get away. She hit another car trying to get away from these people. Oh. So I think she's probably been arrested for leaving a crime scene because she hit the other car and then sped away. That's illegal in the UK.
Yeah, William Wallace must be spinning in his grave after hearing about that news. I was like,
I'm sitting there looking. I'm thinking. I have images of Braveheart and everything. So I mean, I gotta.
Well, we're both wearing skirts, so
Yeah, like this is the thing, Phil. So this is what kills me. How does the common man or the common woman view both the Queen and the monarchy?
Of the common man, the working class people from whence I have come, there's a schism. There's a smaller demographic that will actually say, I hate the monarchy because they were born into money. And it's just basically a big jealous chip on their shoulder. That's all it is. Now, for the greater demographic of the working class, they'll say, I love the fact that we have the monarchy. And this hails back from the days of when the Queen Mother was alive. And all she did was just like go out and smile to the people who did some work and stuff like that and give the royal wave and all the rest of it. And everyone loved her for it because there was never any shitting all over the working class from the monarchy. That always came from the government. So any ire from the working class was aimed at the government, not the monarchy. That may seem strange to an American, but it's very English.
Huh. Yeah, and you got to understand too, like, so Elizabeth's father, was it King George, right? Who led Britain through World War II. So in between Winston Churchill and King George, Britain had the figure to unite behind in the war of their very existence, right? As the Zeppelins are dropping bombs over London, and you're wondering, am I going to wake up tomorrow morning and have to learn to speak German?
There's nothing that draws a nation together harder than like an aggressor trying to kill you all off. Yep. I mean, we'll talk about like things like say sexism, racism, all these other isms, and all the rest of it. But when somebody's trying to bomb you out of existence, none of that shit matters. Everyone comes together, and we had an expression for this back in the wartime age, which was called a wartime spirit. If you could see anyone who needed help, you just helped them out because tomorrow that could be you.
Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, that begs the question now, Phil. I mean, obviously, this is more about the human condition, about why people, care about these things that are irrelevant. It's always in times of comfort, right? But that begs the question of, like, why is it that people tend to keep caring about these things that don't matter, right? Like, so there's no active war going on. You see what I'm saying? Yet now people are all about their isms and their phobes and their everything. What do you?
I had a conversation with some of my Masonic friends about this. The conversation was born out of like political differences, but like it doesn't really matter. When things are very like easy and we've got lots of money and there's nothing really to care about, we start off with small things. We start caring about like what's happening on TV. What happens on TV actually manages to find its way into the newspapers. When people start to get bored of that, they start to escalate it. This is why everyone likes there to be like a big bad wolf in the world. This is why like so many people on the internet believe that Bill Gates is trying to kill people off in the world. That we're trying to like depopulate the world. And I mean, could it just be our politicians are just simply incompetent and they can't see more than 4 years down the road? Occam's razor says that's more likely to be the reason. But we love this idea of the big bad wolf because if we just kill the big bad wolf, everything will go back to being perfect again. And it's just us creating the big bad wolf. The big bad wolf doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm. Well, I will say this, though. I have my own criticisms of a lot of different people and groups. Now, that being said, you're right. There is no one single big bad wolf. You see what I'm saying? Like, when someone says, there's this one problem, and then you fix it, and then what happens? You realize that wasn't the problem. It was just
the other one just pops up.
Yep.
And the other one, and the other one, and the other one. The complex maelstrom of problems that we have that manifest itself in one big problem. You kill the one problem, and that same problem just manifests itself in a different way. And that's when we realize that society is really complex, and it's not just a one size fits all, or one fixes everything. It just doesn't happen like that.
Well, Phil, we're always interconnected. And FigBat, I'm sure you saw that movie, The Butterfly Effect, way back when. And it was one of the rare movies that actually dealt with something that I don't think, up until that point, I don't think got dealt with, which is there was this theory, right? When people talk about string theory and all these things and time travel and all that, and people believe that, hey, if I want to prevent all of blank from happening, right, I'm just going to go back and change this one thing, right? This one assassination, this one birth, this one, whatever it is, wherever the one thing is, right? Because this person, and then they do it, and then the future becomes something that's even worse. Like, well, how did this happen? It's like, no. This one person was just a byproduct of this, but by getting rid of them, you inadvertently cause all of these other elements to happen. And it's something that, like in X-Men, right, in the comic and then in the movie, Days of Future Past, right? They're like, yeah, if you save Xavier, he's going to save us from this terrible future, right? You have the assassination attempt on the government official because of a shapeshifter. And so I look at these kind of things where people say, we just need this one thing out of the way. Like, let's just say you hate the Queen, right? You just hated her. If you believe the Queen was the worst thing in the world and now she's dead, how come your life hasn't changed, right? It'll be 5 years from now that same person says, I hate the Queen. Still.
You're saying what I was thinking.
It's a good point, though, because let's be honest. Let's say we had, I would say, as far as monarchs go, Queen Elizabeth was pretty good. She didn't mind dismantling the Commonwealth and stuff like that, and independence for a lot of nations. But let's say we had an absolute tyrant, and then we killed them off. An assassination from the common man. And then we had like an Oliver Cromwell assumes the government throne, if you like, and then just becomes another tyrant, like a Napoleon Bonaparte, if you like. You've just swapped one monarch for a different kind of leader. That's all that you've done. You haven't solved the problem. Now, America seemed to actually have like a good system on this one, where like if we're going to have leaders and they're going to have responsibilities, we have to have checks and balances. And this always seemed to work up until recent times, where those checks and balances seem to be somewhat ignored if you're Democrat, if you like, and everything seems to be going all southwards. But that's because people on, dare I say, the left side of the political normal think it's all right when we do it, but you aren't allowed to do it. So the checks and balances mean nothing now. So it's almost as though America is starting to swing over to this side of the pond and become somewhat like England. Now, England is full of people. We'll queue for no reason. We'll actually have this sort of like sense of sensibility and decency and stuff like that. Where I've noticed other European nations who follow orders like Germany don't do that. It's what makes England, or the Anglosphere, if you like, so unique, and why we've been so good at creating civilization. But we're always this close from tyranny. That's the problem in the Anglosphere.
Do you think that's just do you think that's something that's kind of conditioned? Like, what do you think is causing that?
That we're so close to tyranny, or the fact that we're not so far away, like we should be further away from tyranny?
that you're so close to tyranny. Like, what do you think? Because we say that about you guys in America. We're always like, they seem to really like it's like Europeans seem to really gravitate toward this whole like, let's make sure we get a fascist. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yes, but now are you talking about Europeans, or are you talking about the British or slash
Europeans
the English?
in general? Yeah, Europeans
Because
in general.
the Europeans, they're all lunatics. They've got no idea what's going on. I mean, look at the history of the French. I mean, those guys have like, it's just been war torn from start to finish. The Germans, well, need I say more? Austrians is pretty much Germany. Eastern Europe was, well, that's where the name slave comes from, the Slavs. So that's never been great. There's only really Britannia, using old speak, which actually was any sort of bastion of fairness and civilization, and hence why we created the Mother of Parliaments. And then we had the empire, and that gave birth to America and stuff like that. And then we've seen what is like with, dare I say, the American empire, possibly like the finest society that's been born on the face of the earth. Everyone wants to be part of America, don't they? For that level of freedom and free speech, and or so-called anyway, which all seems to be going south
It used to be there. I think there's always been things that have kind of like gotten in the way. But let's be honest. Throughout history, there's always been whoever the top dog was of whatever their era was. That's where people wanted to be, right? Like, they talk about the Persian Empire. Lots of Greeks lived in the Persian Empire, and they were Greek mercenaries within the Persian army. You see what I'm saying? Like, people from all over wanted to be where? Persia was where it was happening. You see what I'm saying? Just like there was a time when that was in ancient Egypt. That was a time, when of course, Alexander the Great defeats the Persians. He beats Darius III. As we look throughout history, there's always been like the New York, right? Like the Rome. You see what I'm saying? Like that place that everyone wants to be and everyone else seems to be trying to emulate, right? And I think that something has been lost because, as you're seeing, there's people talking about how they want to, there's lots of expats, right, fleeing America. I want to know, what do you guys think about how, like, the Queen and let's just say the monarchy's hand in that of the taxation, the cost of goods, services? I know you guys have had, I think it's recently your electricity got out of control, right? I've been hearing some stories, man.
I don't understand why this is a thing. Now, for continental Europe, as I would call it, we all know that most of their natural gas has been coming from Russia. They do have a few other avenues, but it's not going to be enough to actually do the job. The UK, most of our natural gas comes from Norway. So I do not understand why our prices are going through the roof in the same way that continental Europe is.
Should be Canada supplying you.
Unless Norway has just suddenly decided, well, if wholesale gas has gone up, let's put the price up and we'll just like rip the UK's asshole out as we do this and just make a massive profit.
Well, who's the alternative, Phil? Like, they know this, right? You don't have an alternative supplier.
It's like a chick moving in after running away from home. Once they've pushed all their chips in, you can do what you want with them because they've left themselves no other recourse. And eventually, one way or the other, although the courts won't always see it, you can always say, well, you've left yourself with only one option, and that one option is going to fuck you whichever way you look at it. They're going to mess with you because you've got nowhere else to go. You're now in a position where you can't negotiate. You can't say the price isn't good enough, I'm going to go here. They're all you've got. That may be what's happening with Norway. I mean, looking at prices going up, I don't know sometimes whether it's to do with wholesale prices or whether they just see a monopoly and an easy way to make money. Because whenever there's an easy way to make money, a lot of people will take that route. So if they see price going up around the rest of Europe, they're not going to leave us with our little discount. They're just going to say wholesale prices have gone up. We're going to do you too.
Something of a cartel going on here, though. I was talking to a German colleague, and because I'm fairly well travelled and I've spent like quite a bit of time over in the Middle East, and I know that Qatar sits on an enormous amount of liquid gas. So I was just saying to this German guy, well, why didn't your government actually go to Qatar and just ask for supply from them? Oh, we did. We were refused. Now, who turns down like a big like market like Germany?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
They don't need the money. Qatar doesn't need the money.
Well, if you don't need to sell your stuff, then just get rid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want to ask you guys this though, FigBat. We talk about your girl that lived to be 487,000 years old. What was the response from Diana's family? Because there's been lots of conspiracy theories, rumors. How did the former Princess of Wales? How did her family respond?
I haven't seen them brought up anywhere, to be fair, in regards to any response from them. I haven't seen anything. I mean, personally, I'd love to find out what the Eurotunnel mystery was. Like, I'd imagine that normally I'd expect the deathbed confession. Yeah, we did it. Like,
yeah, right?
Like the Emmett Hill situation. It's like, oh, well, it's about time we said it. The nation needs to know the truth. Because I don't think anyone actually got prosecuted for that, right? They said they just said they just said, oh, it's the paparazzi. That was it. Like,
everybody knows it was MI6.
Yeah, so when they
Yeah,
say it's
worst kept
paparazzi, it's definitely a terrible secret, and like, well, what can you say about it, really? And if they said anything, they may have wanted to say something. They could have just been silenced. Like,
Well, I mean,
all news is
let's-
drowned out.
Well, let's face it, though. One thing that I will say, right, is I want to ask you guys, when you guys are over in the UK, obviously, when the whole Diana thing happened. I remember I was a kid, and yet I still heard about the rumors of Diana chasing some brown dick over in the Middle East, and she wanted to get somebody out with some brown D, and here's the thing, she was. I'm not saying she was Nancy Reagan throat goat level, but let's just say Diana got around, and she was a look. Let's first
She
of all
certainly
just,
was. I mean, I can tell you what was happening.
Oh, go ahead.
I mean, the fact of it was she was going with Dodi Al-Fayed, right? Very much a socialite. Now, Dodi Al-Fayed's father has been trying. He's like an Egyptian crime lord, if you like, who's kind of like trying to get into British business. And he would try to get like a passport all the time, and the British authorities would just turn him down. Just oh, that's your passport? No, you can't get it. But he owned Harrods, right? A real British institution. But no, you're not going to be a citizen, so you're going to have to leave the country every so many months, which, not a problem for him. He had the money. But then, of course, Diana starts having this dalliance with him. Now, there was talk that she was carrying Dodi Al-Fayed's baby. Now, I think this just took everyone's eye off the ball, because if Diana died, which of course she did, all of the money that she took from Her Majesty went immediately back to her two sons. Mm-hmm. So all the money came back, and I think that's the big one.
Yeah, now
It's always about money, Drex.
always, well, money and or power, which I guess money is a form of power. But I will say this: you talk about the sons. Now we can't talk about sons without talking about a particular son.
You mean the non-son?
The non-son,
The
known
non-son.
as the redheaded stepchild. I've seen a picture of Harry's real father that, I'm not joking, is a literal carbon copy. We all know who this
Absolutely.
guy is. He is, for those of you who don't know, Harry's real father looks exactly the same. Like, Phil, I'll tell you how close it is. Their look is a 1-to-1 ratio, like Nick Rekieta and his dad, right? If you look at Nick Rekieta's dad and you go, what the hell? He looks just like Nick. Yeah. 1-to-1. That's Harry's dad, right? Now, I got to ask you guys a question. As all of a sudden the Queen is gone, how is Harry and Meghan dealing with all this? How's the media in the UK treating them?
I think that when apparently, according to some reports, Queen Elizabeth didn't want Meghan anywhere near when she passed.
I heard that.
So it was like, well, you can come, that redheaded stepchild, he can turn up, but like her, I don't want her. I don't want her coming to my deathbed. I was like, damn. He would have been all over Instagram. Meghan Markle would have talked. We all know what's going to happen there, but yeah, man, she stayed staunch until she died, man. She was like, nah, man, I don't want to even hear me.
If Meghan had shown up to the Queen's bedside, she would have put the pillow over the Queen herself.
That's true. But to be fair, like looking at it, it makes absolute sense as to why Harry gave up his royal duties, because it wouldn't leave any confusion about Harry's actual biological situation. So I think Harry's more than aware of who his dad really is in regards to it. There's no way they can not be aware of it. But if it was to create confusion along the crown, for example, Harry's stepping out was very convenient in the sense that he's not going to be now considered another king, because it would still be disputed if he actually was put in place.
I can imagine that like everyone knew where Harry had come from, right? Even though he was taken in as a royal and all the rest of it. So it doesn't matter what happened and who died, he was never going to assume the throne. So he was allowed to become the playboy kind of thing. Now, this would never have been allowed to happen if both of those sons were Charles. They would have been kept on a tight rein after what Andrew has done to the royal family, because that guy's never going to get anywhere near the
Oh yeah,
throne,
don't worry.
no matter
We're
what
gonna
happens.
get to him. We're gonna get to bitch ass Andrew and King's Island. We'll get to that.
He's the big N word that we call in.
Yeah, that guy.
North.
Yeah. Now, I gotta ask this. You guys are there. What was, from what you've heard, what was Harry's treatment from the Queen? Because think about it. From a bloodline standpoint, she's not blood related to Harry. You see what I'm saying? If Diana is Diana, she has a dalliance with the redhead. Charles and Diana had William, so but like the Queen doesn't have actually had a blood relationship to Harry. So did you guys ever hear stories about how Harry was treated versus William or anyone else?
There was always pictured together. There was never any indication that they were treated differently that we could see. Well, I saw over the years. So
There was a video that Harry had shot with the Queen, just as a reaction video to something that somebody had said, and there didn't seem to be any love lost between them. So even if she considered him adopted or whatever, it seemed to be okay, because with him not being first in line to the throne, I don't think it mattered.
No,
Yeah,
personally, I
because
think
Rose-
Harry had the best job in the world, because if you had told me I get all of the royal resources with none of the accountability, right? Harry was wilding out, right? I mean, I remember there was a period, right? I think it was around. I want to say was it before he went to the army? It was before he went into the military, right? Harry was he was out there. You guys remember that? Like there was he had a streak of just incidences, right?
Didn't he have a soldier Nazi uniform or something like that? And he turned up to a party in a Nazi uniform.
He was doing the most.
Oh, people were trying to make that out to be really bad, but then there was photographs in the UK rags of him naked from behind at a party.
Oh, Harry.
So he was just playboying that up.
Yeah. I truly believe. Okay, I don't think Harry was like I said, the whole Nazi uniform. I didn't take that the way other people took it. The Queen is a different story. We got the stories, of course, the British German bloodline, and we also got Chamberlain allegedly was going to sell you guys out to Hitler, right?
Of course, yeah.
Yep. So that was your old prime minister. So that was going to happen. So you guys are basically going to be a puppet monarchy. That was the plan.
This is what I worry about with all of these females taking positions of authority, because they will just acquiesce to try and keep the peace. Whereas a man is more likely to say, well, fuck it, I'll press the button if you push me hard enough.
Correct. And there's been so many things that have happened when it comes to the UK, the relationship with the Queen, the relationship with the public. Obviously, I don't know if you guys know this, but here, oh man, our man Lion in MGTOW. What is up, LOM? Great video, by the way. He just made a video. Make sure you guys, well, first of all, sub to his channel. He made a video talking about Nora Vincent, who I believe did she come over across the pond to you guys to sub-delete? Maybe. Nora Vincent, she's that lesbian chick who decided to live life as a man. And she,
Yes, that's true.
She was over there, right?
I don't know if she did. I'd heard that she'd gone through assisted suicide.
Yeah.
It's still not legal in this country, though. I mean, Switzerland, you can get it done.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can self-eat in Canada. Drex, we're actually you saw the article, yeeting soldiers with PTSD.
Yep.
So Ken Jennings did a video on that last Sunday.
Well, you guys just had some savage go after a whole lot of people, right?
Yeah, we had a mass knifing.
Yeah, it got dark.
It got British.
Oh, yeah, it got
I
British.
was going to say, you guys all had a London night, did you?
Yeah, he went full Brit. He went Jack the Ripper.
This guy, so including the two perpetrators, there was 30 victims and 12 fatalities from the mass knifing. Drex, we got to do something about these high-capacity assault knives, man.
Yeah, look.
You know what? It's spoons for everyone now. It's going to be just.
It's going to be
like
nothing but
England.
plastic spoons. And now I got to ask you guys this. Have you guys heard anything about Harry's response, right? I mean, we see William, we see Meghan, well, heard Meghan. We hear all these things, but I mean, has anyone heard anything from Harry?
No. I saw an article that said Harry rushed to the Queen's side, but she died before he got there. She was like,
wasn't in time, was he?
No, that was it. He did everything to get there. I don't know what he did though, but he apparently did everything to get there. That's all I saw, of a picture of him sitting in the back of a car looking very meh.
You know what's kind of funny though? Isn't that kind of like its own form of poetic justice because like, here's the thing: we all know you're illegitimate, right? You're the bastard. So you're the bastard who was given royalty, rejected it, right? Wouldn't it make sense that like basically you are so inadequate that death rejected you, right? You tried to get there to like get your last saving grace, like grandma, she's already dead. You know what I mean? Like,
Did you say something like I'm not your grandma before?
yeah. I'm like your grandma. And she's like talking through a stoma or something. So it's like
That might be the last bit of thrift that he kind of gets because grandma might have loved him even though not a blood relation. Whereas father is probably more likely to backhand him around the back of the head and say, just get back to work.
Yeah, well, getting with Megan, one thing that I kind of laugh about with Harry was that what separates Megan is that her own father said she's toxic, right? If you think about how, Phil, do you know what it takes for a father to say, don't marry my daughter? Do you know what that, as a man, what that has to take?
I can't imagine, to be honest, that not being a parent myself, but it's got to be a big step. And so there's got to be a lot of bad blood between those two to allow that sort of thing to happen.
Well, because the mother, there's like the mother-son relationship, but like the father-daughter relationship always has its own dynamic. So to be like...
My little girl,
to go from my little girl to, don't marry that bitch. Damn, fam. Really? Like, he actually said, like, you put this woman in the royal family, she'll ruin everything. Like, it's saying something. And, there are lots of things that are to be said. Now, we got to ask this question. What are the views of the royal family after some of these revelations have come out? And we're going to start with Andrew.
If we listen to what's been released through certain favoured papers in the UK by royals in terms of leaks and stuff like that, it's not gone down well. I mean, Mother dealt with it as best that she could. She just wanted to smooth everything over. But everyone else in the extended royal family's taken it rather badly. Because, I mean, all you've got to do is just kind of like not get caught doing anything bad, but then to go so many streets further and go into like the worst area of like society and get caught doing that and being a royal. I mean, like, if you were the Pope, you'd just excommunicate this guy. Mm-hmm. And it's been a long time since I think a royal has been exiled.
Yeah.
Well, you guys had one. Okay, he was chronicled in the King's Speech. I did find out that the true story was that the dude, that whole thing about him, he found the love of his life. He was going to go away and leave the throne. Albert,
No. Sorry, Albert was the guy who was it
Who's the other brother? Not the one with the speech impediment. The other brother.
Yeah, Albert's brother.
Damn, we got British people. You guys must know these things.
King Edward. It was King Edward, right? So
King Edward, is that right?
Yeah, when King
before
George's,
my time.
Yeah, when King George's father died, it was actually his older brother, and I think it was Edward, took the throne. But because he wanted to marry a divorced woman, which was not allowed in the Church of England, he had to abdicate the throne to his younger brother. So
that was all fiction. That was all fiction, man. The dude had a weak wrist. I'm telling you, man. I got.
Well, whatever it was, though, but he died in exile in France.
Yeah, Phil. The manipulation through the media of who these people really are needs to get talked about because there, like I say, there are sources, credible sources, that have talked about that guy who left for love. No, man, that was all a ruse, right? It was all a ruse, just like this whole Camille thing. Now, Phil, I got to ask you, we got Charles, we got Camille. What is the story that you guys have been fed versus what you guys know? Charles and Camille.
The media fed story is, of course, like, Charles, whether it was arranged or not, he got together with Diana, they got married, had kids, and then he started to fool around with Camilla. Now, the truth is, he wanted Camilla before he even knew Diana.
I didn't hear that.
And the Queen said no.
So what was her reason for saying no?
Well, the thing is, like, for the first in line to the throne, your spouse is picked out by the time you're about 13 or 14. You've got no choice in that. Well,
so wait.
I mean, she comes from a good, I mean, not necessarily royal, but very high-born family. She was Lady Diana anyway,
Okay.
Diana Spencer, and then married into the royal family. But I mean, she was pretty. I mean, not like, shall we say, catwalk pretty or anything like that, but she had a grace and class which fit directly in with the royal family.
I can
And
see
so
that.
then when he starts playing around behind her back to actually get his dick wet with Camilla, who looks like a horse's face, to be fair.
Bruh, that face, that is a Susan Boyle face, man. We need to discuss Camille. Look, I challenge anyone in the interwebs to show me a picture of Camille where she looked hittable. Bro, her
was none.
face.
Okay.
There was none.
Show me. Pull up on the screen, Tim. I just want to see one picture. Right, look, I have seen pictures of Nancy Pelosi where Nancy Pelosi looked hittable a long time ago.
Even Hillary Clinton.
Long time ago.
When Hillary Clinton was
Yeah,
42.
even Hillary.
Have you noticed though how like the royal terminology for this person now, it changes how you actually think of the word, because when you say the words now, queen consort, you're thinking of a whore now, aren't you?
King's bitch.
Yep.
All right.
I'm trying. I've ruined my search history. I've searched for Camilla Parker Bowles at her sexiest. Let's see what we can find on Google. Hold up. Oh
All right.
Lord, no,
I'll
no.
hit super chats while you do that, Fig Bet.
Oh God.
Koopa says, Her Majesty took her court loss hard, Phil.
Phil, I think that's what ultimately caused the old lady's heart to get out.
Do
Man.
you think I brought down the monarchy?
You brought that to the monarchy. You won that case.
Actually, speaking of that, I mean, like in the breakdown of the monarchy, should it happen, this will happen if Charles does an Elizabeth and stays on for as long as he possibly can. I think this man just needs to do what he needs to do in a few years, like 5 years maximum, and abdicate or die for William.
1 year.
Everyone loves William.
I give you
Everyone
1
loves
year.
Kate. And then the monarchy's back on track again.
Oh, Fig Bet sent me something. I don't want to. All right. Super chat first. Big Weather Biker says, between Charles and Andrew, there's enough degeneracy, deviancy to make Nick and Drex's chat look like normies.
Yeah, don't worry. Don't worry, Bad Weather Biker. We're gonna go ahead and cook these motherfuckers like Andrew, because when you're going to that island, it says some things.
And Mandy says, told my boss I'll need to take off for bereavement. The mom just passed away. At first, my boss was shocked and sad until realized I meant Queen Elizabeth. He then told me to shut up and go back to work. Rip mom.
Ooh.
Oh, we're getting this on Monday, actually, because there's the actual sort of funeral and stuff.
Oh,
And
the bank
it's a new
holiday.
bank holiday, actually, on Monday coming.
That was just announced like today, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I got time off work. 1 minute.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I just got another one in here. Ah, man, you guys are really.
I'm
generous
supposed to be
with your
taking a
chats.
hire car back on Monday, and I don't know if I'll be able to if it's a bank holiday.
She was waiting out for Charles to die. That's actually that's
That would have been a really good idea.
Yeah.
Everyone would have just sat there and went, "Oh, it's terrible."
Yeah, right? I mean, Phil, throughout history, you've never seen this before. Like, there's never been a ruler who did not transfer power during their lifetime when they were of that old, right? Like, when you start talking about 80s and 90s, right? That's throughout history. We talk about kings, right? Kings transferred power while they were still the king. You see what I'm saying? They're like,
They're
hey,
still able as the king, and they could
Yeah,
still
there's-
ride a horse and stuff like that.
correct. And they were like, hey, I'm transferring the power, right? Because they wanted to make sure everything was like this when they left. Elizabeth is a little different. We're looking at Charles. Like, yo, look, Charles is old. Charles is 76, right? 76 years old.
Well, to be honest, if the man was 32 years old, even as your mother, you would look down at Charles and go, "This man talks to plants. How's he going to be a monarch?"
Charles, man. Ugh.
I mean, technically, if we all become vegetarians, he's still talking to plants, right?
Okay, this is
it's a pretty good angle.
it's good for her.
Oh man.
Drax is like,
I did find one from like a million years ago, but like
Yeah.
that was like
Hey, Big Bad.
Well, looking at this picture, I mean, like, if this was like a well-to-do couple in the wilds of Surrey or something like that, maybe living in a stately home, you think, well, good for them. But you're not thinking, oh, we must have these two people who are going to run the country. That's not what's running through your head.
Yeah, I can't help it, but like in that picture, why does Charles look like George W. Bush?
Well,
he really does.
You
and the
notice
thing is
that?
with Charles as well.
Cut off. Look, think about it. Right above the eyebrow, then below, right? It looks like W.
Drex, you weren't the only one who thought that.
Oh, did someone else say that in the chat? Hold on. Damn.
No, I was thinking
Well,
it too.
Oh,
Did George W. Bush always go
Yes.
before saying anything?
he did. He did.
Oh,
dear.
okay.
They're clones.
Yeah.
Let's get the conspiracy theory hats on.
Camille is now Her Majesty the Queen at Charles' yeah. I'm trying to
No, she's not Her Majesty the Queen. She's the Queen Consort.
consort. Yeah.
Queen of the
Phil,
hoes.
I'm trying to. I have a vivid imagination. You know what I'm saying? And I can. I
don't like where this is going.
I can create things in my head, Phil. And I was told recently that your queen, not Elizabeth, her name is Sophie D, the porn star, is making crazy money on OnlyFans. And my brain can go there with Sophie D, right? Like I can imagine her assets, her accent. But when I look at Camille, Phil, FigBat, no part of my imagination, even when I project Sophie D's assets onto Camille, makes Camille hittable. She looks like. Wait, do we have a picture of Susan Boyle? Where's
There's
Susan Boyle?
something that mouth do that we can't see. That's what I'm saying.
I
like,
mean, is there FigBat, let me ask you this: is Camille the true throat goat?
she gotta be. She like because
She has to have something.
in terms of the time period, right? What Diana was kind of like what every guy kind of wanted. Looked like the perfect wife. Had all the stuff. They don't had children with her, of course, as well. Did Camille and Charles even have any children? I don't. Never followed that. But so let me get this straight. My man goes to a barren wasteland to hit the oldest, most crustiest bitch that he can find, and he left what was a regular, normal family. I can understand. Okay. I could understand if, like, how can I say this right? I could understand if Camille was his favorite streetwalker in the harem, right? They'd been at it since they were like 13. It was one of them kind of things, and she just grew old horribly. But he still loved her for what she used to be. But when he was with Diana, for him to creep over and smash that old crone, I don't know how he did it, man. I don't know how he did it. There's got to be something there.
I don't care what it was. Look, dude, I learned this, ironically enough, watching Jerry Springer as a teenager. So when I would watch Jerry Springer, the man would be with an attractive woman, right? Like a pretty attractive woman, right? And they were always cheating on the attractive woman with like actual trailer trash, right? And as a kid, when you're like 14, 15, you're like, this doesn't make sense. Now, people talk about, oh, this is staged. But then you look at the real world. FigBat, you and I both know. A lot of times the side chick is never as attractive as the main chick, right? Mm-hmm. So someone goes, okay, so what is the guy getting from this side chick that he's not getting from the main chick? A lot. I don't know if you guys know this. A lot of the best side chicks are fat chicks. Mm-hmm. Fat chicks have like the side chick thing game on lock.
Well, do you remember Hugh Grant?
Oh,
Divine Brand was it?
Yeah, and he got a blowjob from Marvin Hagler.
no, you're wrong for that. You're right. You ain't right for that. Marvin.
All right, moving on to Super Chat.
So Charles cheated on Diana with Camille, and then Diana started hopping from D to D, thus giving us Harry. Is that the timeline or no? I don't know for sure. I mean, she was always a thought. Mm-hmm. Diana was a known thought.
Well, the thing is, I mean, when everything broke, that he was like, playing around with, Camilla behind Diana's back, that was probably going on a lot longer than any of us know about. So if she's thinking, well, if he's playing around, I might as well get some dick myself.
Yeah,
so her bodyguard then ends up being like, her next plaything.
Yeah, Bad Weather Biker saying what we were all thinking, right? Diana 8.5 at least, Camilla a high 3.
No, hold on. I gotta be fair. One problem I have with the rating of Di is that if we're being honest, Di looks like if you're in the suburbs, she literally looks like average at best. I think Diana was always overrated because let's face it, there was too much reverence in her title. Because, Phil, let's be honest.
Well, kind of, but I mean, she had a very well-spoken accent, very cultured London accent.
Yeah, I will give you that.
Now, if you give her a Birmingham accent, that changes.
What if she had a Cockney accent?
She felt James Hewitt and then was like, "You ain't seen nothing, right?"
I jumped over Seal Hunter's super
Plants
chat.
feel pain.
Well, they do if Charles is talking to them.
Oh,
Goodness.
Charles said
Yes,
he wanted to be someone's
he wanted to be Camille's tampon so we could spend more time inside her. Which orifice he was talking about, I don't know, but she looks like she gave the back door from what I'm guessing here. Because they've been that way for a while now.
Well, so Drex, giving up the back door automatically bumps you up 1 whole point, right?
I like how you said whole point.
Yep.
Pun intended.
Right?
Well, here's the thing, though.
Right? So
Like,
if you're a 7,
Yep.
and you're giving up the back door,
you're now an 8. I agree. I agree. Because let's be fair. Each hole that she denies brings her down a point. So watch this.
Yeah.
So Figbat, you see a girl. She's bad. She's really into you. She's a 9. I don't do oral. She just went down to an 8. I don't do vag. She went down to a 7, right? Like,
Well, this
yeah, she's going-
explains Hugh Grant.
Oh yeah,
He,
yeah,
was,
Elizabeth
he
Hurley
wasn't
had that
getting
terrible.
anything from that.
He wasn't getting
film.
nothing.
I mean,
Elizabeth Hurley,
if you can stick your dick in that and not stick it into like a horribly sort of like splintered wooden hole in the side of a bench, rather than
someone-
that, which is
someone's
probably
about Arnold.
safer.
No, hold on. No, we got to do this. Now, we got to do this for our viewing public. Tim, I need you to bring up a picture of Arnold's mistress and then Hugh Grant's German Shepherd prostitute mistress. I want guys to see what, quote unquote, remember, Arnold was considered Hollywood royalty. The Charles is considered the British royalty. Look at who. Now, we saw what Camille looks like. I want you guys, and Hugh Grant was considered, British movie royalty. Look at who they have affairs with, though. Wait till you guys, because some people feel, we got some people out there who haven't kept up with this stuff. Some of these people look terrible.
Well, I mean, if you can imagine, though, Hugh Grant in this particular situation, he just pulls up in the street, and she goes, "What you want, boy?" And I say, "Will you swallow?" And she says, "Yes." And so, like, I haven't had that in 3-4 years. Right, let's go.
wait a sec. Is this correct?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
that's
Yeah,
the
he got
one.
busted.
Oh
Okay.
my god!
Now, Phil,
Marvin Hagler with hair.
Phil, I can't look at you no more. Phil, I can't talk to you no more, man. You can't be saying Marvin Hagler. Look, that puts images in my head of marvelous Marvin Hagler.
Just put some boxing gloves on it.
Putting some boxing gloves on and be like this, I'm gonna beat up that dick. And just go and like hitting his balls, right? Like, could you imagine this
Just
German
imagine that
Shepherd?
with nom 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 nom.
No, and she just goes like this, and she has Hugh Grant sit on one of those chairs. You guys remember in the movie Casino Royale, where Lashif's goon cuts out the bottom of that chair, right? I want you guys to imagine Hugh Grant sitting there, but she cuts out the chair, right? And then Hugh Grant sits down, and then this Marvin Hagler looking German Shepherd puts on boxing gloves and takes his balls and just speed bags and goes, brrrr, and just gives it to his buddy. He's just like, oh, Elizabeth never does this. Because there's no reason you would be cheating on Elizabeth Hurley with something that, I mean, Phil, with that. You see what I'm saying?
But you see, like, Hugh Grant didn't set out the initial standard. Because I've had girlfriends try to do this, and the moment they try it, I just say, well, if we're going to go down to, like, twice a week, I got more sex than that when I was single, so you can get fucked and get out, right? And then they start to shit themselves. But most guys are like, oh, well, that's just the way it is now. And they just allow that shit to happen instead of setting down the rules. Now, when I set down the rules with the last girl who I had let's say, a long relationship with, we lived together for 6 years. We were together for 7, right? And I demanded the option of twice a day. And that was given to me every day. Now, I didn't have to take it, but the option was there. Mm-hmm. How many married men get that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a very sad reality when guys aren't getting their needs met. But I think it also goes to show how far men will go, how like low they can dip their, because we always hear from women, I will not lower my standards. Dudes have no problem, Phil. guys have no problem dumpster diving. Like Phil, like, be honest. Throughout your life, you've seen guys have no problem last call at the pub taking a chick that even you had to go, wait, bruh, like.
I heard this from, there was my girlfriend, the same girlfriend at the time. I was out with one of her cousins and she had her boyfriend. So I'm talking with the boyfriend. And he said, it's great, isn't it, actually having like a real serious relationship? There's no pressure at the end of the night to pull. And I'm like, I never felt that. If there wasn't anything there, I was quite happy to go home alone.
You can just go. Here's the thing. When you go home, this is a pro tip for all you guys out there. I mean, I don't know how many clubs are still even operating, but this is a pro tip. If you go home and don't pull a hideous Marvin Hagler-looking German Shepherd or a Lizzo or a Tess Holiday, at least you can have your dignity, right? Because I'm not gonna lie, Phil, a lot of dudes have smashed something they had no business smashing, right? And to this day, they're kind of like, oh.
I mean, admittedly, I've done that once or
talk.
twice, and there was always some shandy involved.
Yeah.
Where I've woken up with something that had its own gravitational field, and you just run away as fast as you can.
It's like 127 hours, but you got to chew your own arm off. And if you're not careful, she'll do it for you. That's the worst thing about it. That's how bad it can be, man. I don't even want to think about the times where I've just turned around. I'm like,
and Marky Mark said we all took whatever at the last call.
You have that. It's like the movie The Hangover, where you're slowly piecing together what happened the final night, and it is always a mad dash at the end of the night. But to be fair, when it comes to standards, no, man, it's a basic need. It needs to be met. And it's just like, it's the same as a job interview at a really shit retail job where they hire just anybody and all they need to do is just prove they're not a psychopath before they go stabbing people on the job. Yeah,
there's places, this is no lie, man. When you go in for a job interview, they're like, are you available to work? They're like, yeah. And they just go like this. They check your pulse, right? To make sure you're alive. And they're like, you're hired. Like, dude, Phil, you know that the whole drug test thing is a recent development? Back in the day, they did not drug test you to get a job. People have gotten so drugged out in recent years, they have to because people were crashing into shit. They weren't showing up to work. So they have to like, all right, we got to have at least this one standard, which is don't be a druggie.
There was, granted, this was about 20 years ago, so it's a fair old time ago, but I was working for an American oil exploration company. And they pulled us all in and said, like, we know that you're all UK and all the rest of it, but we're actually going to start implementing some of the American rules. So that means we can just do random drug tests on you, and if we find you've got illicit substances in your blood, you're likely to be fired. To which most people just kind of thought, well, fine. One guy raised his hand and raised a good point. What happens if I've spent the weekend in Amsterdam, where it is legal to have drugs, such as weed, and I come back the next week, and there's still traces of it, not enough to be a positive result, but traces of that in my system. And the Americans just said, you'll be fired. There's a lot of people just left the company at that point.
And actually, that's been challenged in court before and upheld. There's no competence. See, because weed is legal in Canada now, Drex. But if I work in the U.S. and I smoke weed legally in Canada, then I go to the U.S. and I get drug tested there, I'll get fired.
Yeah, because you're under their rules.
Zero recourse.
Yep.
Now that I can see something of a point for. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I can see where they're coming from. But then there are actually starting to push this over into opinions now, where you can have, you're not tweeting out on a company Twitter account, your personal Twitter account, and because you have the wrong opinions, you then get fired from your job. You haven't done anything illegal, you just have the wrong opinions.
Oh, someone, the most famous case here in Ontario would have been, he worked for the hydro utility provider, and he was at a Toronto FC soccer game, or football, as you both gentlemen know it as.
Of course.
And there's a female reporter, so he does the fucker right in the pussy thing. That was all the rage, like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, right? So he does that, but someone doxed and ID'd him, and he got fired from his job for doing that.
You imagine getting sacked on your job for some shit you did when he wasn't even there. Like, well, if I'm gonna fuck about at work, if I was gonna fuck about at work and get sacked, that's brilliant. But if I'm gonna just have my weekend, my unpaid weekend when I'm not on the clock, and someone goes, oh, well, you've lost your Monday to Friday because you did some shit on Saturday and Sunday. Like, nah, I don't see the point in that.
Phil,
Big
how
bad.
many people would get fired for shit they did at a football game?
But that's what I'm saying. Like, here's the thing: what happens when it extends to something that's like way too far? Like, how about this? You're online gaming. Someone.
But do you not think this is way too far already, though? Even the football game?
Bill,
Yeah.
I have been saying that. Like, LOM did a show earlier talking about Andrew Tate, and he said, he had piggybacked on Coach Ray Adams. He said, like, Andrew Tate was not the intended target. It was actually going to be Kevin Samuels that they were going to cancel, right? But Kevin Samuels happened to pass. And I said, listen, they go after everybody, but one thing I've always said is this. There's no need to compromise you and your message and who you are. You see what I'm saying? Because if you say, like, what if everything on YouTube was that creepy performance artist turned YouTuber name? Was it Blippy? Will it sink or float? It's the craziest, creepiest shit. Like, I looked at Nick because his kid was watching it, right? His baby was watching. I was like, this guy's giving me some weirdo vibes. And someone's like, yeah, this guy was a like naked performance artist. Now, Phil, I'm not gonna say the guy is a something, right? Let's just say people who come from that world, right? Naked performance artists, and then they start making content for children. They tend to be down a certain path. You see what I'm saying? And like that is okay by YouTube standards, by social media standards, right?
Yeah,
but yeah, when someone
being beanophilic is fine.
Yeah. But if someone comes on there and they're Andrew Tate and they're just like, yo, man, bitches ain't shit.
Have you noticed the similarities between Andrew Tate? I mean, I can listen to his words and content. I agree with everything. I think he's being deliberately provocative when he does this. And he's like a kind of a steroided version of the way Donald Trump speaks to a lot of people. And that's how he winds a lot of people up.
Yeah, this is what I've said about Andrew Tate. Because I was asked my opinion on him. I said, I don't have an issue with the guy. Like I said, when it comes to people talk about dating courses and like masculine stuff, that's beside the point. Because my thing is this. If someone is offering a product, you don't have to buy it. You see what I'm saying? And then I go, basically what Andrew Tate was this. Andrew Tate was a persona. He was like I said, he was a caricature of a hyper masculine dude, right? So he went. That's what, like I said, it's kind of like you said about like a Donald Trump on steroids. He's going over the top because he's a provocateur. You see what I'm saying? I mean, we can all do it. If any of us here, someone said, all right, I'm going to put you guys on a panel with a bunch of, let's say The View, right? Joy Behar, Whoopi Goldberg, but it's uncensored, right? So you don't have to worry about the censorship, right? The FCC and all that. And then say, you could just be you. Well, if I know I have a big studio audience and a lot of people are going to look at me and I want to make sure I really stand out and I'm in an opposition to their views, I'm going to be over the top. Like, do you guys remember when Dick Masterson was on the Dr. Phil show? He was a character. You see what I'm saying? He's a character. Because it's like, oh, I'm going to be an over-the-top misogynist. It is what it is.
Phil, you did end up getting on the Dick show, didn't you?
Yeah.
That was a while ago, like a couple of months ago, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was like asking me about the dolls again. Of course, the three-breasted doll came up again, as it would do, because he was just so taken aback by that.
He had some. Now, Phil, I got to ask you this, though. Inquiring fans, which means nobody, wants to know. What if you get a request for a Queen Elizabeth II doll?
What about the first one, though?
I'm done.
There's a lot of people who keep on asking. So, Phil, are people asking for a Queen doll?
Oh,
yeah, that's just going to be Freddie Mercury. That's all. That
God damn it, Phil, you went there.
I had to do it. Now, that's more palatable as a Brit than to do a QE2 doll.
Now, how much money would you charge someone to do a Lizzo doll?
A Lizzo, God, the amount of TP that would be involved there, that would be running to tens of thousands of pounds. And in fact, there's no need to have a stand.
How much money, Phil? Not how much it weighs.
You wouldn't even have to have standing feet because you can just roll the doll about.
Yeah. Oh, God. What have we done?
Has Drex recovered yet?
No.
Look, Phil, here's why it bothers me and intrigues me, because I'm sick like that. I always imagine, because we have a resident degenerate in Koopa who fucked the head off his doll, right? I want you guys to imagine this. I want you guys to put on your degenerate caps for a second, right? What if you started selling the doll where you got Queen Elizabeth at different stages of her life. So like the head was detachable, and we got the younger Queen Elizabeth II, the older one. You can doll her up and make her, you know, it can be like a regal gown. I mean, look, if all things went right, you could do a doll on doll scene with Queen Elizabeth and Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Well, ordinarily, I would say there's a couple of older heads that I've got access to now, and they don't sell very well. But as OnlyFans is getting more and more popular, I think old girls are going to get more and more popular as well, because guys are just fucked up.
Phil, let me ask you this. When it comes to, talk about male sexuality, you and FigBat can both talk about male sexuality in regards to the UK, because here's my thing. The Thatcher years, she was trying to zip everything, right? Like she didn't want any, basically no one can have fun, right? Describe how in the UK, like I said, whether it be people fetishizing Diana or the Queen or whoever, what is male sexuality like in the UK? Because here in America, these dudes are fucking weirdos now, man. They're socially awkward. They'll like a girl will be on a date and they'll start talking about anime. You see what I'm saying?
Do you want to go first, FigBat, or should I?
Well, to be fair, I get the feeling that most of the guys here, when they do talk about dating and stuff, they take a lot of their inspiration from movies. So they want to be the cool guy, they want to be the notebook guy. So when they go on a date, they want it to be an entertaining and lavish date. But in terms of what they would discuss, personally, I don't really see much of people having weird situations when they talk about anime. They might talk about different social groups that they hang in. I have friends that are like this, what are your friends are like, and then try and suss them out. But I haven't seen anything completely over the top. But I do hear about weird dates.
It depends what you mean by over the top, but FigBat, I'll bet you have heard of this one, right? Because as you were saying, right, most guys will look to, you know, be it Hollywood or whatever is the en vogue media at the time, and whoever's the cool guy, and that's who they want to be. But when it comes to the female object of affection, be that sexual or otherwise, it's what was happening in their life when they were growing up. And as we only have female teachers now, you've got a real female teacher fetish. And they're always wearing spectacles. They're always a little bit older, like a MILF sort of edge. They've all got like a little cane going on, and they all like to be spanked with this sort of shit. And all these guys like to be told what to do. It's like the step before the dominatrix kicks in.
Yeah, there is a lot of dumb culture in terms of females. I've got a good friend that that tried to do me over in ways that I shouldn't really have done. We've discussed this before, but in regards to these situations. But like, good lord, she all she does is just sends me all of these images and sends me all this stuff that she does to like guys and gets them to do things. And the dumb culture is really fucked up here for females. Anyways, it's all findom and that silly like.
I don't get the
give me
guys
money
who
for
like
nothing.
this though. I mean,
Neither do I.
Do you get it? Because I mean, I've had like a couple of girls try it on. So like, oh, I'm gonna spank your ass, boy, and so like,
Yeah,
okay. So I just pick her up, put over my knee, wallop. And she, oh yeah, hit me, daddy, hit me. And all of a sudden, like, she wants to be dominated.
It's all
that's what
shit
girls
says.
want. Yeah,
It's all shit says.
It's all weird. Like, I mean, they do try. They'll always try to they'll ask you to give them money. They'll give you you know what I mean? Like, you both go to the bar. You might not know this girl from Adam, and you're like, I'll get her a drink, and you look over, and she's looking at you, like, and you just want to ask her, you might want something for that throat. But in terms of it, they'll just ask you for money. They'll just straight up ask you for money now. They'll just be like, can I have some money? Here's my, or they'll match with you on Tinder, and then after matching with you on Tinder, they'll just send you a link to a Cash App. Like, you know how you normally know if you've matched with a bot? A bot will say things. It will try to initiate a basic conversation. It doesn't matter what you say. It has a pre-recorded response. I'm horny and I'm local. Do you want to meet up? Something like that. But these girls will just match up with you because, oh, you look interesting, and then they'll send you a link to Cash App or Venmo or any equivalent banking transfer app. So the fact that people will just straight up ask you for money is really odd. I mean, they shouldn't, but they do. But there's no. How can I say this? There's no strategy to it anymore. once upon a time, they would trick you into a relationship, ask you to buy them things to keep them happy, like make sure there's no sex or anything like that for a long period of time after giving you the first taste, because drug dealers, the first taste is always for free. They're just mad that everyone disappears after the first taste. Like, the product isn't good enough.
Do you just get exasperated by it, though? Because, I mean, it just appeals to the Monty Python in me. If they were to push me towards a cash app or a banking thing, it'd be like, well, once I get the deeds to the house, I'll give you like £100. Kind of, you know.
Yeah, it pretty much is. Like, they in the, I don't know how to put it. It's like, once upon a time you could go on dates. Now it's give me money and then we'll go on a date. Not we could go on a date to see if you've got money so that I can ask for it in a long play. So there's no long game anymore. There's only the short game of give me some.
I would be tempted once, like say I was going to give some girl £100 or something just to get the date, and then I'm just going to turn up in a beer-stained like white string vest or something like that, and like shorts like with my cock hanging out the bottom and stuff like that because it's got holes in it, just to see what she does. So well, that's all £100 gets you.
Yeah, it's the reason why I say that is because earlier you talked about how the commoner views the Queen and stuff, and like how they view royalty. Phil, I think that kind of goes into something because there have been too many red pill channels that talk all this yap about young girls this, young girls that. And I'm like, bro, every single statistic proves what you just said, Phil. MILF porn is number one, not teen girl. When I was coming up, Phil, teens was it. You see what I'm saying? Like the fresh new debutante, right? Like that was her whole thing. Like, you know, where are you from?
I mean, if you really wanted cougar meat, you could get it.
You could get it. So,
it would take some work, but you could get it.
What happened? Like, I don't know, man. Like, this is the thing. For those guys who don't know this, the easiest chicks to get are cougars. Like that's like well known.
Well, I have a theory on this. It's possibly well known. I don't know, but like all of these guys who have foot fetishes, they used to crawl around their mother who like didn't wear shoes or something when they're in the kitchen when this young boy was like a toddler and whatnot. This is where I think that this foot fetish thing comes in. It's whatever you see growing up then becomes sexually alluring. So like, you know, if your mother's like a landwell, then all of a sudden like you want fatties, because I mean the fact that people will buy fatty sex dolls is still beyond.
Wait, what?
Now come on. We've had this conversation before, Drex. You called them thick, I call them fat.
Well, wait a minute. Okay, Simon Cowell, and all of your weird beauty standards. Hold on, Phil. Now, the dolls that you showed, I would define as thick, borderline. Now, Tess Holiday, I gave a shot to Elian and MGTOW in the chat. He said he doesn't like big girls, so I told him that Tess Holiday is anorexic. So he can go get some.
Calm down, Big Bad. Don't choke.
Wait, Big Bad, did you know that? Did you know that Tess Holiday's anorexic?
Bullshit, is she anorexic?
Well, she claimed it.
Tim, pull up the article. Tess Holiday.
I have proof.
I'm not. Hey, Fig Bat, I need you to stop being so fat phobic. Okay, Tess Holiday is anorexic because she said so. Therefore, it's true.
I'm gonna learn how to spell anorexic.
So you're telling me that she's anorexic, but if she was bulimic, she would actually be a lot less heavy, because at least she'd be getting rid of it.
Getting rid of it? Yeah. Look, she might have a sleepwalking problem. I think you guys have got to Tess. I think Tess is a great dieter. I think she just sleepwalks, and while sleepwalking, she just
sleep eats. Yeah.
She just. Yeah. I believe Tess was meant to be like 102 pounds, soaking wet.
Well, if you consider what female society is like, though, if you can say in front of all of the other girls, no, I am a firefighter. And if you dress like a firefighter and you sound like a firefighter, all women will believe that you are a firefighter. There is no sort of like proof of whom you happen to be or anything like that. So words are the real thing to women. That's why they think, well, if I identify as, then therefore it's real.
Yeah.
Whereas for men, it's the moment you say, oh, I identify as, you know, a battle helicopter, it's like, fucking prove it. And then I'll believe it.
Hold up. Wait a minute. I'm looking at the screen now. So Tess Holiday reveals she's anorexic. plus size model. Okay, fair enough. Says she's in healing from an eating disorder after years of punishing her. Bullshit. First of all, right, I've just googled, man. What is the bare minimum calories to class as anorexic? Apparently, it's 1,200 calories for women and 1,800 calories for men.
Look, but here's the thing: it doesn't say a queen. Tess Holliday is a queen. You didn't get those statistics, okay? Tess Holliday is anorexic, Big Bad. You need to accept this truth. Look,
I can't, man.
Look at this. She's anorexic. Phil, when's the last time you saw a picture of Tess Holliday?
Last time I vomited, I think.
Okay, let me just if I just Google anorexia and go to image search, let's take a look at what that looks like. Oh, good lord!
Is Tess Holliday on there? It better show Tess Holliday first.
I'm looking for her now. Oh God! You know what? I'm just gonna send the Google results. I'm just gonna send the Google result.
Hey, Phil.
Well, can you remember Bruce Willis saying, "I had to roll in the flour to actually find the wet patch"? It's the same kind of idea.
There you go. I got one for you guys.
Hey, Tim, go to that one on the far left, top far left. Zoom in on her knee, or lack thereof.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to zoom that.
Look,
but-
you see that? Where are her kneecaps?
You see, the thing is, there'll be some guys out there.
Hold on, Phil. Hey, Big Man, hold on. Be honest. She thick though. Look.
Bullshit.
Hey, Phil. Yes
That
or
is
no?
FAF, fat as fuck.
Hey, Phil. Hold on, Phil. All right, so it's not a slow Tuesday. It's like a slow.
And the reason I
2022.
say fat as fuck, because there's so many like kinky guys out there, they will want to fuck her knees because there's so many folds there.
The knees.
Phil,
Oh, got the back of
I've
the
known
knee.
that guy. I don't know if you guys know this, man. Like, there's always like these TikTok trends of prove that you're like say that you're single without saying you're single. It's kind of like with fat chicks, right? Like like say that you need to diet without saying you need to diet. Well, if a white chick says that black guys are hitting on them, that means you need to go on a diet, right? So when you look at Tess, Phil, when she's sitting there licking a popsicle, you don't know what that does. It activates this like little thing in black men. It's like most of them can't help themselves, man. Like, hey, Phil, watch this. Big man, be honest. Tess Holliday walks in the club in Berkshire or whatever, right? She can pull, right? Mm-hmm. Easily, right?
She can pull.
Easily.
She can pull. There'll be like an Iranian guy that just wants it, right? And that's his ticket. That's his ticket to citizenship, right there, man. You know what I mean? And like the thing is, like, he wouldn't have to walk or worry about the Eurotunnel because one, she won't fit in it, and two, no Royals want to kill her. So, and she's already here. She's on the other side. She's on the right side of the tunnel. So it's all good.
Phil, I don't think you're looking at this with a critical mind. Look, I want you to think about this. I guarantee you, Tess Holliday will give you top 5 head because look, every picture that she's in, she's eating something. She's clearly orally fixated.
Well, yeah, I know, but it's not like she has to pull you in. It's a gravitational force which actually sucks you into her.
You know what, Phil? Do you know what I want to happen to you? I want Phil to get sucked in by Tess during her anorexic fasting. So I want Phil to be out and about. He's like carrying a doll. He's about to go
screaming, "No, help me!"
Phil's going to a Mason meeting. He's like this. What's happening?
I'm trying to hold the apron over my dick to just prevent shit from happening.
And then Tess just goes like this. And Phil's just, no! And Phil,
You know what?
I would live-
But then
Spaghettification is?
all that would happen is you would just, and then I'm gone.
Well, at least we've found out that Phil has cured Tess's anorexia because the moment she's consumed Phil, she's had enough calories to not be classed as anorexic.
I'll tell you what would happen. If I end up inside Tess Holliday, I'm going to be like 1979's Ridley Scott's Alien, and I'm going to go bursting out of her stomach.
Will you bring the other guys with you that are stuck in there too?
I'll take the skeletons out, yeah.
Alvin John 1 says, Drex, if women find a man attractive, but the man minds his own business and doesn't notice them on a regular basis, do women consider that being rejected?
No, I'll tell you what women consider that. They consider that there's something wrong with guys because guys aren't talking to me. You guys have seen those videos, right, Phil? You're starting to see more and more of those.
But that's a defense mechanism after being rejected. Because I've seen women kind of, when they flick their hair about, and this is supposed to be come hither,
Yep.
and a guy doesn't take any notice, and he must be gay.
Yep.
That's her defense against being rejected.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, true, it's true.
Guy
Not
in the
thick.
gold one says fat, not thick. Drex.
I'm telling you, Phil, you have to spend some time around black dudes who grew up in the inner city because like their beauty standards have gotten so
The
warped. because, like,
closest I ever got to that was being with those black chicks in Africa. I don't want to get any closer.
That's far. That's a little bit further from the neighborhood, but like. I
Well,
don't
to
know.
be honest, it was actually quite refreshing because, like, I've got me a white guy, and all of a sudden the behavior just changed.
Yep. Phil, here's the thing though. Supply and demand is true because I try to explain this to guys, right? Let's just say you're just an average guy, right? Let's say you're average, and you're in the UK or you're in Australia, and you're thinking, well, Drex, I'm just an average Joe. Phil, you know this because the time you spent in Africa. The moment someone from your continent comes over and decides, hey, I'm just gonna take a quick trip to America, what happens?
You're the different guy.
You're
You
different.
stand out from all the other Chads who've got everything that they could possibly want.
Yep.
You're the different guy. And, oh, he's the shiny new object. Let's go and talk to
Yep.
him.
It doesn't matter. This is for all you guys out there who don't know. You guys can be. You're thinking like, oh, I'm just average Drex. I can't compete against a bunch of Chads and Tyrones. Dude, you just have to change your environment. If you are, it's no different than being in Asia as like someone like Andrew, right? A tall, good-looking white guy. Andrew can just clean up in Asia. You see what I'm saying? Because he's the other. He's the different. Same with the black dude. FigBat, you can go to Bangkok right now, right? You can go to Pattaya right now. You can go to Seoul right now and just clean up because why? You're the other. You see what I'm saying? Whereas, let's say you were a average to above average Korean chick in Seoul, right? Mm-hmm. A girl from Seoul comes over to America or comes over to the UK. It's like, oh my God. See, that's why a lot of guys are like, these Asian chicks are so hot. They're just not used to seeing I mean, let's face it. When most Asian girls get to Western culture, they just blow up like Tess Holiday, right? I mean, Big Man, have you noticed that's the first way
fit straight in.
They fit straight in. They start eating. It's like, can you stop
Asian girls generally live on like half a bowl of rice a day.
Yep.
So, of course, when they get to the West, let's have all of the McDonald's and then they're as big as Tess Holiday.
They get big, and they get big. Like, for those of you who know about these FOBs, these fresh off the boat Asians, these chicks will look good for like one semester in school, right? In one semester.
And then they get their own gravitational field, don't they?
Yeah, and then you see brothers out there like, no. And they start and
Trying
they
to get
just
away.
suck
It's like the Death Star just hauling you in.
Yeah, when Luke is going, what's happening? Like, it's a tractor beam. Kids pulling us in. These fat hoes have become tractor beams, right? They just so it's the way the orbit is. It's the way that we've come out as a society, Phil, where we look at England, we look at other places, and we all like judge each other, right? Like somewhere out there, before the last 20 years, where you guys have kind of really gotten to fall off the rails. But there was a time when people were like, I wish I could live in England, right? And hey, thanks, Sarah. There are guys out there who say like, I want to go to this place, right, Phil? I want to go to England because England looks better. I want to go to Australia because that looks better. I want to go to America. That looks better.
The grass is always green.
Lex says Latinos are hated everywhere. Here's the thing. I think that's true and false. I think Latinos are hated everywhere and also can kind of blend everywhere.
It depends what they look like. I was in Amsterdam one time with a group of guys, so it was going to be a bit of a naughty weekend, and I picked out this Latina who was for sale. I thought she was kind of hot, so I had like a good old 20 minutes with her. And the moment I walked out, this like Indian British guy just kind of walked over to me and, was she good? And I'm like, yeah, she's really good. And like he wasn't even waiting for her to wipe down or anything like that. He was that keen to get into it.
Wait, no, whoa, wait, hold up. Wait, what? What do you mean?
Nah,
you just went in.
He was
Indians are
Now,
the
normally what happens is, right, if you can see a guy leaving the brothel or whatever you want to call it, it puts you off mentally because like us guys can't go to where another guy has been. But this guy was excited by the fact I'd just come out and been with this girl.
Indian
I
Sims are the
don't get
worst,
it.
Drex.
Wait a minute. Wait.
But did you see how bad it's getting? And this was 15 years ago.
Yeah, LOM sums it up perfectly. Ew.
That's filth, man.
Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but Phil, I was given a video to watch along with my brother Nick, with Dakota and some other. Dakota's the guy's name this time, and he's married or at least in a relationship with an actual ham beast, right? This ginormous fat white chick who looks disgusting, right? And I'm sitting there looking, and I'm like, what is it about dudes now that like they think cleanup duty is like a badge of honor, Phil? Like, yeah, I'm about to get in there. It's like, what, bro?
Remember when TFM talked about the vanilla pudding cup?
Oh yeah. Oh,
That's
anybody who's been in the
disgusting.
service. Oh, here's the thing. Now, Phil, let me ask you this. I want to ask you, and then I'll ask FigBat. What do you think is the biggest change with guys in the UK, let's say within the last 20 years?
I think it's the result of being brought up by single mother households, where it doesn't matter what a woman does, everything's right.
Yep.
So therefore, there's nothing they can do is wrong, and they're starting to believe it now. Like they look at guys like me, like older guys, and calling, "Oh, you're just a cynical motherfucker. That you just don't like any of these women. You hate women, don't you?" It's like, no, I'd rather slap them around and then get them to do what I want. And they just look at me as I'm just, oh, he's fucking off his nut. This guy, he doesn't know what he's talking about. And then these are the guys who are then like, "Oh, was she really good? Is she still wet? Can I get inside her? Oh, can I hold the camera well like the bull does her?" You know, all of this stupid shit which is going on.
Sarai is the name, Phil. Sarai in Dakota. Sarai.
Sounds like a constellation.
I know, right? FigBat, how about you? What has been the biggest change that you've seen in the British men? I'm sure they've been letting you down. 20 years.
It is pretty much the single mother crisis. The problem is that more men are becoming more emotional and slaves to their feelings is a better way of putting it. On top of that as well, they want to also have the same kind of how can I say this? The same resistance to accountability. So the guys see the advantages of being a female because a female can use a simple excuse to get out of a complex problem. Men also see the same strategy and see it work. So whether it makes them look like a bitch or not, they'll just do it. Especially in the type of work that I do in my day job, for example, I come across these types of situations because a lot of accountability needs to be discussed and dealt with, preferably right there and then, but they're always very evasive. Now, they want to be as evasive, but when there's procedures in place, you have to follow the procedure. So when you follow said procedure, they want to be treated the same way a woman will be treated in a horrific situation. They want to explain everything away with everything that's very small and not take any accountabilities for any problems, especially if they've caused them. So, men are, well, bitch made is the word to use, really. That's what's happened with a lot of them.
Would you say this is what has given rise to the femboy generation, which is starting to happen?
Yeah. So, British men are starting to become bitches, and in more ways than one. Very much like the Indian guy in Amsterdam. So they now just want to have the sloppy seconds. When I go out with my girlfriends, right? When I go out with the friends that I call girls, guys will come up because they think we're together, and then they're more attracted because they think we're together. They come up and start hitting them. The guys come up and hit her because they're like, "Are you with her? Are you with her?" I'm like, "No."
Well, they've had no other example other than women, and that's what women do.
Yeah,
think about
it.
Yeah,
so they turn around and they're like, "Oh, are you guys together?" And then they'll try 10 times as hard. So half of the girls that hang out with me because they can get more dick when they're hanging out with me, and if not, they've always got me. So it's like, when it does happen, they're like, "Oh my god, I got a date with this guy." Which guy? No, the guy that was harassing us, for example. I bumped into him and he really, really wants to go on a date with me, and I was like, "There you go, it works." But he keeps talking about you because
wait, what does that mean?
No, in the tough acts to follow, seeing us together, he's like, "Oh, they've got to have smashed uglies before if they're hanging out together," and then they want to kind of one up it. That's how it works.
Well, actually, FigBat, just try this one out next time you're out there in that situation. And just said, "No, it's just my sister, but we just fuck sometimes."
We're distant cousins, but as you can see, we drink together.
No, honestly, I mean like actual brother and sister, because it's a fucking anime thing, and all the young guys are getting into it. I saw this in TFM circle. The question was like raised that like, "Oh, if you could never ever have sex like, with another woman again," kind of thing. I like, how would you react? And one of the guys was like, "Well, there's always your sister." It's like, dude,
Bruh.
you've been watching anime way too much.
Whoa.
Hell
There's
no.
no rules out here, man. There's no
Yeah, I know.
rules.
I know, but bearing in mind, we're a different generation, right? We're talking about like your late teens, early 20s now, and this shit is normal for them.
I mean,
They're
they're just
watching it so
leaving
often.
It's the fetish, right? They're just leaving the step out of it.
Yeah, that's extra creepy. I got to ask you this, though. So, FigBat, in China, the government, the CCP went ahead and said, we're not going to allow any more like this whole femboy, weak, effeminate male stuff because they got to get birth rates up. Did your queen ever institute something like that or even talk about the effeminate dudes? Or has anyone else from the monarchy ever talked about the the feminization of men in the UK?
I believe for fear of being called old-fashioned, I haven't heard anything like this is how a man should act. Because a good way of being able to delegate is to rule from the top down. This is how we should do things. This is the way. This is the type of this is the type of family unit we would like to have. This is the type of family unit we'd like to see. But looking at it, for example, I haven't seen anything that says here's a great way to do things outside of the basic, obvious religious aspects of get married.
I could imagine if Queen Elizabeth had actually mentioned something like, or just hinted towards it, rather than directly saying it. I could imagine a lot of the working class men suddenly dust themselves down. Right, got to be a bit more of a man now.
Yeah.
Because we would take that. Now, if the Prime Minister said that, it would just be like a collective middle finger to everyone. Just like, no.
It's like, I'd be happy. But what would they say if they was to suggest a way of living? I'm not too sure how in Britain they would approach it. Because
if I was the advisor to the monarch at the time, and the monarch is female, because this doesn't work if the monarch's male. If the monarch is female, and to say we need more masculine men who are able to fight. So I'm going to encourage the educational institutions to encourage things like boxing as physical education in school and stuff like that. Now, a lot of this would actually go a long way. Whereas, when a guy says it, you're always thinking, what's his ulterior motive for saying this?
Yeah.
Because you immediately start thinking homoerotic things, when a guy suggests that men start getting together half naked and stuff like that.
I can see that. I mean, well, let me ask you this, though. If now that the Queen is gone, we'll talk about the King. What would you suggest the King do to get the UK out of its current mess? I mean, Phil, you could always give them dolls. I think these boys need to start smashing these fucking dolls, Phil, personally.
Well, I mean, how can I say that without seeming horrendously biased, though? Now, if I was to say, well, if it's anybody else's dolls, they're not from the dollhouse and stuff like that, just smash and get all of your frustrations out. Because what I noticed personally, right, after you go through your honeymoon period and you smash 6, 7, 8, 10 times a day, right, and then it subsides because you've got no more sperm left. You get these two little cries coming from each testicle, oh, no more, kind of thing. And then you start to relax, and you have these amazing platonic relationships with the women in your life, whether they happen to be at work or friends of the family and stuff like that, because there's no sexual tension. When there's no sexual tension, you get no violence amongst men, because men beat each other up just to try and look cool in front of women. And that's why women are the source of all problems with men. Yep. So once you relieve that tension, everything becomes better. You'll have a more harmonized society immediately. Now, I don't know how King Charles III would articulate that, because he just kind of sounds highborn and retarded all at the same time when he talks.
Yeah.
Does he always talk like that?
Yeah. He always talks like Hugh Grant in a love movie. It's always been in a weird I'm the Queen Mother and dearest Mama and Papa. Yeah, it's like he talks like that. So
they roll everything. When one has to talk like this sort of thing. That's what we say. You're born with a silver spoon in your mouth.
Yep.
It's not BBC English. It's not like something a BBC newsreader would use to just take away any accent that you can possibly have and just speak clearly and enunciate well. Their enunciation, pronunciation, everything's awful. Mm-hmm. But bearing in mind, of course, they are German. They're not English.
Yeah, correct. Well, now, I bring that up because, people always talk about solutions and all this. Now that the king is here, let me ask you, FigBat, what do you think the first thing he's going to do, at least first major thing he's going to do? So Charles is in charge, right? We got Charles in charge. What is Charles going to do with his ugly ass Camille, Susan Boyle, dog face looking bitch by his side? What comes first?
Man, first of all, get rid of that no-fault divorce that they just brought in, because like he went hockey mask time to make sure that he got out of his one. So
yeah, her ass got banged in the tunnel.
Yeah. So in terms what he could do, the only thing I think he should really come out of a statement that says, I don't think we're ready for any situation that would ever come around. Like, anything could happen. Ukraine and Russia are going at it. China's looking like they want to go at it with people. If it's going to happen, stop all this green energy, net zero carbon stuff. Just prepare for war, because everyone else is going to prepare, and you don't want to be left behind when it comes to an arms race. Like, it's better to be prepared and have shit happen than be unprepared, and then people do shit because they see you never preparing.
Oh, absolutely. And well, the thing, the energy cucked. Oh.
Everyone's saying in the chat that he's like big on climate change.
Yeah, he's one of those. I don't think there's much that we can do about that. Now, if he has a 180 about-face turn, because now he's not allowed to have a political opinion, and he said as much, we'll see if that changes his opinion on anything, or if he's just going to be quietly the same guy.
Well, how long do you guys think before William takes over? Because do you guys think that it's going to be until Charles dies, or do you think?
I would like that to be within 5 years. We can tolerate Charles for 5 years. Yeah. I mean, like, I'm not being morbid, but let's say it was like a year and a day, and Charles kicks the bucket, as we call it, and we go through this whole situation again. William takes the throne, and he's going to be on for like a good 40 years or something like that. Everyone loves him. Everyone loves his wife. Everyone loves the kids. So even if something was to happen to William and it went down to his son, it's fine. Whereas Charles, everyone's just kind of looks at him and go like, he kind of looks like a caricature of himself. You can't make a caricature of King Charles, dare I say, because I know he's kind of getting old. He's got all those lines on his face, but he's got those massive ears. He's got that big nose. It's that whole sort of royal inbreeding look that he's got, which his son does not have.
No, he does not.
All that he's balding at a fairly young age, he's still a reasonable looking guy.
Yeah, William looks like William. I remember when he was a sex symbol. For those who don't remember, back when he was a teenager, right? When Diana was still alive, and then even not long after she passed, Prince William was like a global sex symbol. You remember that?
Yeah, when he had hair. We had his hair back on him now.
Yep. Yeah, when Prince William had hair, right? He was a global sex symbol.
Well, to be honest, if Wayne Rooney can get a new head of hair, I'm sure the king can.
Oh,
or potential king.
That's true.
Now, Phil, what happens if, by some weird, France tunnel related coincidence, that William's oldest son, who's like only, what is he, 10, 11?
Must be around about there.
Yeah, well, what happens if he becomes king before he's 18? Do you know?
Well, we would probably have like a consort to act in his stead until he's 18. We're not the French, where you put Prince Louis on the throne at the age of 2. That kind of idea.
Okay, so now who would that be? Would it be like what kind of person would they draw from?
Probably
I don't know what the protocol is actually for that.
Yeah. Would it be a family member? Maybe someone who cares for him?
It'd have to be a Queen Dowager. It'll be something along the lines of like a specific family member. So
like one of the uncles?
Well, the thing is like, we have this thing where you can have a queen that rules if there's no king, but if there's a king and there's no... Well, if there's someone who's next in line to be the king, we'd probably just end up stuck with the queen again. But
because what would you call a king regent? Possibly
prince regent, something fancy. But we'll create the title as we go along, because that's what we've really done with history. Anyways, we're like, I don't know what to call ourselves. I'm not sure. Like, come on, you marry the queen and you become another prince. How dodgy does that sound? It's like I had no idea for a long time that Prince Philip was actually the queen's husband. I never cared about it enough to look into it, and I was like, so why is she married to one of the Wait a minute, why has he got such a degrading title? Okay, I don't know what we could call him, the Queen's dick or something like that. Give him a name befitting of his title. What does he do? He fucks the Queen. He makes sure that we don't go to war.
I wished I could have met the guy. That guy had such a dry sense of humor. And he upset people around the world.
Everywhere.
He was my hero when he was alive.
He was the one that went to Africa and said, "Are you guys still chucking spears?"
Damn. There's something about dudes who just say it like it is. You know what I'm saying? There's just something. There's a quality they have that just resonates.
It's as you will know, Drex, when a man doesn't give a shit, it's sexually alluring to a woman, and it's admirable for a man.
Yep. Well, but here's the thing though, because now, Phil, we have so many simps. There's so many bitch-made simps. They don't admire masculinity. They demonize it. Attempt to
because they see it as a threat.
It's a threat to them. Whereas, okay, there are certain people, right, where they can say something, and we can all think that that's funny, right? Like we just this guy's actually being funny. He's trolling. They see it as, oh my God, he's a dangerous misogynist. You see what I'm saying? Because what that's why they believe everything is an istaphobe, right? Everything that guy says or does. And it goes back to what you said, Phil. When it's a woman doing it, they just move the goalposts and say, Yas Queen, right? Because these are single mother raised males. You see what I'm saying? And one of the things is that I look at Prince Charles, well, King Charles now. So it's so hard to, we were so used to calling him Prince.
I've made the mistake already.
Yeah, it's like, wow, it just rolls off the tongue. Now that King Charles is there, right? He's in a situation where, if the very least he can do, I mean, he won't do it, but for the very least, he can be like, we got to at least do something about these damn kids, because let's face it, I've heard about the quote unquote man deserts in the UK. Have you guys? There's like whole documentaries about that. You heard about that, Phil?
Yeah, I mean, I remember when it broke. It's not that there's no men there. It's just there's no men that the women want.
Correct.
That's why they call it a man desert.
Yep.
And, it'll be all this simpery and stuff like this. So, like, if I was King Charles, I would advise the government, because that's all he can do. He can't command, I mean, unless he wants to use the military to take over Parliament, which he could do, but he's not going to do it. To say, any man that is taking any level of social security benefits, whatever you want to call it, doesn't get a vote. And the same for women. Yep. And let's do that. And then all of a sudden, all the simpery is just taken away.
Yep.
Because then, men might get taken care of in terms of, benefits and stuff like that, but women won't respect them. Men won't even acknowledge that they are visible. They'll just look straight through them.
Of course
kind
they
of
will.
thing.
Now, FigBat, I'll ask you this question before we get out of here. What is your grand hope for England versus what deep down will happen to England with Charles? So there's got to be an optimistic side, and there's the realistic side, right? Tell me what optimistic FigBat is looking forward to.
Optimistic FigBat would be happy to hear if King Charles was like, he just walked up and he just took off the mask, and it just turned out that he was just tricking us this entire time, and that he's just glad to finally get out from under his mama. He's like, I've been a mama's boy, but I woke up and today I had a dream. And this dream was that shit changed. And because shit hasn't changed, I want to change shit myself. Like, not necessarily get rid of Parliament. Put in controls that essentially make people more accountable for what they do, especially when it comes down to certain circumstances. So instead of it being like a no-fault divorce kind of situation, instead of it being family courts and all that shit, you can start from the top down and say, look, my shit didn't work out too well, but I want to understand what it's like for someone who goes through the system. Someone who ends up getting divorced, someone ends up losing their children, someone who ends up having a wife that has children with other men, clearly whilst I'm with them, right? So if he was to take himself and put himself in our shoes, then he'd be able to essentially change things. But unfortunately, we know realistically that's not going to happen. But the good news is we do have William, who does have a family unit that hasn't had the royals kill him off, so they're doing something right if they're keeping him alive. Like, if they didn't get rid of Diana, they'd have definitely tried to get rid of Andrew, but there's still too much heat after Diana. So...
Andrew. Now, Phil...
He's the royal who is a royal but not a royal all at the same time. He's put in this little special like box. You're not going anywhere. You're certainly not going to do anything. You say anything, and nasty things are going to happen. So he's on his best behavior now.
I like how you said now. Now, Phil, we all heard about all the allegations about Andrew, which we know are true, allegedly. Phil,
Nonsense.
So, Phil, we got Andrew allegedly going to the island. Let me ask you this.
He wasn't there to work on his tan.
At what point do the British people relinquish denial?
Oh, like I would say about 90% of the people are all kind of like, "Oh, Prince Andrew, none." Because I was when I was back in London, I was walking from Chislehurst through to the lockup where I would have all the dolls and stuff, and I would do this multiple times a week, and so I'd have the same processional route through the same streets every time. So every time I saw something different, even if it was subliminal, I was like, just kind of looking, something's different here, and I could see these stickers all over these lampposts, and I go, oh, the circus must be in town again, because that's what they do. It's like, go and see this circus at this place. And it was just a big old sticker that said, Prince Andrew is a nonce. And this is in a very working class area, and that's when I knew. That's when everyone's turned against Prince Andrew. And I think Her Majesty at the time realised, I'm going to bail you out, but you say one more thing, and I'm going to Diana you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love that. That's it. That is a legitimate threat.
Yep.
Like, if anyone pulls you aside, it's like, I'm gonna get the Queen Diana you.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm taking this seriously.
I mean, the only person that is much more serious than the Queen could ever be is the only person that got crime down to 0%, which is Kim Jong-un. Because you go Phil, you go fuck up North Korea, man. We saw how he did his brother at the airport, fam.
Well, bearing in mind, I mean, if you want to go burgling in North Korea, there's nothing to steal. So what's the point?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
you can't mug anyone. Nobody's got anything.
But Phil, the military general that he threw in the piranha tank, Kim Jong-un stole my heart when he did that. You know what I'm saying? Like, for those of you who don't know...
That's proper James Bond, isn't it?
Yeah, he went full Bond villain and threw a general in a piranha tank. And I'm thinking to myself, these are the kinds of big brain solutions we need to solve a lot of problems. Because I'll tell you what, I want you to imagine if somebody stepped out of line, right? These maps, these crazies. Oh, don't worry, I'm about to cook these maps.
Well, you're saying this about the, shall we say, the degenerates of society, true degenerates. But what I'm sure FIGBAT will agree with me on this one. The people that we need to throw into these piranha vats would be the civil service, because they're holding up the government from actually doing what they want to do.
Yeah. Anything you want to do, the civil service will stop you from being able to do it. They are pretty much the MI6 of any plan that you want to put into place, and they'll make it take so long that by the time anything ever gets put in place, you'll be dead and long gone, and society would have changed, and it would no longer be a problem.
We should get FIGBAT to plug his channel before he gets out of here.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead and plug yourself, Fig.
Oh, yeah, I can plug myself.
Wait,
No, it's FIGBAT with a... It's... Oh! Oh, I fell out of focus. There we go. Oh, 1 sec. All right, there we go. Now I'm back in photos. Okay, it's FIGBAT, so it's FIGBAT with a 1 instead of an I on YouTube. FIGBAT with a 1 instead of an I on Twitch. I'm also found on Instagram, FIGBATD, just FIGBAT with a D on the end of it, because for some reason some dickhead stole FIGBAT. And I'm also found on Twitter under CJPez, which is CEEJAYPES. Although I guess that probably at some point will be changed to FIGBAT too.
Eventually. Breaking news out of Canada. I know no one cares, but we have selected our new leader of the opposition. Pierre Poilievre will now be the leader of the Conservative Party.
Are they any good?
Pierre is actually. I know Drex doesn't have room for conservatives, but Pierre is at least the guy who says the right things. He, he loves his wife, raises children, and thinks that more Canadians should do the same.
Yeah, we need to get laws
Elon Musk.
changed. Yeah. So Tim, you know my criticism of all these people.
They say it and don't do anything.
Yeah. Like, here's the thing. If I get up on here, right, and I go like this, yeah, man, we need strong families. Everybody go out there and have babies and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, and someone goes like this, hey, man, you got to change the laws? Oh, well.
People saying Pierre's WEF is not, no, he's never been involved with the World Economic Forum. You might be thinking of Candice Bergen or Jean Charest or like literally everyone else in the party, but not him. Also, he's got a French name, but he's actually from Calgary. He's from my city.
It's a very
Anyways.
French name.
Yeah, Pierre Poilievre is a very, very French name. But
I actually like that name.
I know his mother. I've met his mother.
Oh, yes.
Very nice lady.
Oh, see, Phil, the way you just said that, Phil. Look, now, Phil, I saw your search history with the granny porn and all that. I mean,
Moving on to
it is.
Super Chat.
I wasn't going to say nothing, but you know.
My search history has all the porn.
Moving on to super chats. Lexmas says I'm mainly talking about the men lol women pull. That's in reference to the Latino. Yeah, Drex, we gotta do.
Oh, okay.
We gotta do the Chihuahua follow up to our Ninja episodes.
Yeah, so don't worry. I'm gonna contact you and our other Latinos in the server because we got to go ahead and cook these goddamn Latinos next, and then we're gonna go ahead and roast these damn Asians like a fucking kebab. Because Phil, I'm gonna get Amr and my Pakistani brother to come in, and we're gonna go ahead and cook these Middle Easterners too, and these hojabis.
Oh yeah.
You're going to shish them all up.
Oh yeah, we're gonna shush all these bitches because something that a lot of people don't know is that a lot of Arab men are some of the biggest simps you'll ever find. Everyone keeps thinking that they're like super base.
Indeed, yeah.
They are
Especially for-
super simps.
Especially for goats.
Oh
No, I'm not talking about throat goats this time.
no. They,
I'm talking about them swaybacks.
someone said Pierre showed his colors during the Canada truck rally.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
he was the one. Like the reason we had this contest was because Aaron O'Toole, the previous leader, disavowed the truckers, so we turfed them. If memory serves me correct, Pierre was actually fully on board. He took pictures with the truckers protesting in front of Parliament. So I don't know where he's getting that info from, or if maybe I'm mistaken. But anyways, no, I think you're mixing Pierre up with someone else.
Could be.
'Cause
Sounds
he's-
like it.
He's been with the truckers from day one. Like I would know. I was down there with the Gadsden flag. Anyways, next super chat from Mike Hunt.
Classic.
Unsolicited workout advice. 1 set to failure is all you need. 10-second reps, full body workout, once a week. Everything else is fitness industry scam.
Mm-hmm.
Ian Mack says the change from head of faith to head of faiths with the change to Charles is potentially worrying move away from the Church of England.
Yeah, that'd be about right.
Mike Hunt again says the Queen is dead. Long live the Kang.
Oh yeah. We got a Kang in there now, one that can't even speak.
Because we was Kangs.
We was Kangs.
Perhaps Charles had the Queen vaccinated. Return of the Kang.
Oh, that's savage.
I honestly thought she'd outlive him.
Savage.
That's that savage life. Damn.
Now, Drex, you're gonna have to hit Susan with that baldo because we said the no on this channel. Now,
Wait, what did we say?
Vax.
Susan, look, quit playing, girl. Look. So the left ball goes in there and the right ball goes in there. Susan, you better quit playing. Come get this damn. Look, now
Oh,
Phil.
she gave us 3 copyright strikes from the the White Ninjas episode we did with Manic. Like, that's why I couldn't get the video up on
Yeah,
YouTube.
I know. Well, the music was playing, so yeah, we'll do a better job of that next
I
time.
fixed it, though. I scrubbed it. I re-uploaded it. Everyone should be able to see it now. But you should see Drexel versus ninjas from the hidden white village.
Yeah, look, things are getting out of control out here in these streets. And, I mean, Phil, Phil, don't worry. I got some stuff coming up. Tomorrow I got to record with Bowser and our new guy, Will. We're doing, guess what, Phil? Something you'll appreciate. Side Dude Chronicles, Volume 1.
Ooh.
And we're going in balls deep to talk about what it's like to be the side dude. And, I mean, we got stories galore. And, you know, Will is actually a fan of big chicks. So, Phil, I really want you to tune in. Because if there's one thing I know,
We just called them fatties. That's what we called them.
Hey, Phil, they're BBWs. They're
Fatties. Do you remember the comic 2000 AD? We had the fatties in there. And they had the belly wheels just to keep the bellies from hitting the floor.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, but we're going to do the Side Dude Chronicles. You guys will enjoy that. Yeah, thanks, FigBat. Thanks, Phil, for coming on and giving us an update on the UK. I mean, you can't spell cuck without the UK. You guys have really gone downhill and been doing, I mean, you guys, between knife fights, acid attacks, and political correctness and censorship, you guys still have a prayer now that you guys got a Kang in office.
One last
True
chat from
Kang.
Mike. One last shot from our friend Mike here. Phil, could your dolls double as a practice grappling dummy? How hard could you beat them without breaking them?
Oh, you can beat them, but they've got a steel skeleton, grade 308, so you can grapple with them pretty hard. They
And
don't
some of
scream, though, that's the thing.
Yeah. Some
Even
of
if you
us are
snap
into
the
that.
arms.
Or the head off, as our resident degenerate has learned.
Yeah, if you don't use the push-on head connection very well, the head may just roll off in the middle of usage.
Last second chat from Capricious Tyrant. I hear Fatty and I think of the cigar from Undercover Brother. To be enjoyed again and again and again.
Go fatties.
Go, fatties.
No safe
Phil,
word,
no
Phil.
safe word. Oh, she's horrible. Beaver's unit is truly horrible.
She knows how it is.
Hey, Phil, you got anything to shill before we get out?
Well, apparently I've got like a website. It's got the the-doll-house.com. Go there and be horrified.
Oh, wait, no, Phil. You can't be horrified without me sending you this. I'll send it to Tim right now on Discord.
Oh, boy.
We can't let people get out of here.
Well, I
without
suppose while
seeing
they're doing
this.
that, I mean, I do have the Game Lady dolls, which have just been released actually on the Dollhouse. And we've got the Tifa doll, we've got the Aerith doll, and we've got like the Lara Croft doll and stuff like that. So if you want something out of games, we've got them.
Nice.
We can't actually link Phil's website, or that's like an Insta permaban.
It's
from
instant
YouTube.
strike.
Well, that is bogus, man.
What? For giving men an option? Is
Yeah.
that what it is?
By 2000 AD, yeah. But Phil, we got something special for you and everybody else. For those who are on my Twitter, you guys saw this. For those who aren't, you're about to see something that's going to guaranteed to make your day better. If you're sad about the Queen passing away, if you're happy about it, it doesn't matter because this video is going to guaranteed to make you happy.
Okay, I just got to make sure there's nothing doxing on that screen. Should be good.
It should be good. Phil, you're going to appreciate this, man.
I know this is going to be awful, isn't it?
Oh, Lord.
Oh, wait. You need the audio.
Oh, is that going to get another copyright?
No.
strike?
There's no music.
Okay, good.
Oh, so you know what? Let's just play one game of basketball. If I win, then we not over. But if you win, then we over.
So if I win, it's over.
It's over.
All right, let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
But I got the ball first.
Go for it.
And I'm not playing.
Let's go.
Oh, Lord.
Come on.
It's my ball.
She got some baps for us for a midget.
You want to break up?
Yeah, I want to let's go.
Hi.
Let's go. Come on. Let's go. Get that shit out of here. Let's go. My turn. Let's go.
Is he gonna roll it for her legs?
Let's go.
motherfucking thing. Boy, y'all done broke up. Listen, baby, I'm on the way to come get you.
Oh my God.
Phil, I know you need to see that, man. I know it's your bedtime, and now that you see that, look, Phil, I know you can go to sleep in peace.
I'll be chuckling my way to sleep.
I know you weren't ready for that one right there, Phil. I know you weren't ready for that.
I'm
Hey,
going straight to hell.
hey, Phil, now you can edit Maple in there.
Who's
You
the
might not
lady
be able to get the
behind
breasts
you?
in there, but anyway.
Phil, who's the lady behind you?
Oh, that's Jing Jing. She's a Model 9 gynoid. I just
And
fixed up her fingers today, so she's all good.
She's looking at me very judgingly after that video.
I know, she doesn't like you very much. She's
Must be that
racist.
native. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. Must be the native. Hey, you know what? You know what Rico always says, Drex?
Get that butt. Phil knows.
Spit in that butt.
Stay toxic, Kangs.
Les.